Right, 24 March 2020, and I'm back with Mr. Tinashe Jonas. How are you, sir?
I'm sad because of the corona attack in Zimbabwe and the absent government.
Okay, yesterday, Mnangagwa announced a number of measures. What is your overall view of these measures?
Those measures are murderous and they are nonsensical in the fact that you don't contain a disease outbreak or a pandemic by measures. You contain by treatment. The amount of preparedness is what counts more than the measures.
Okay, I want to show you the measures that he announced, then we can discuss. He announced border controls, returning residents, travel within country, ban on entertainment and recreational activities, hospital visits, public gatherings, e-services across the sectors, informal markets, mass transit and commuter services, and contact tracing. Then he also announced decongesting of workplaces, and he announced issues around pricing. So these are the measures that he announced last night. What do you think was missing here?
What was missing is the government. We don't have a government because the Zimbabweans are struggling. They are living hand to mouth. They are in queues for fuel. They are in queues for roller mill. They are in queues for money. So, I mean, you can't control movements in a country that people are scavenging for a living.
Okay, is it possible to close the border of Zimbabwe?
It's not possible because our umbilical cord as a country is the Bedbridge border. It's very difficult to close the border because as a country, we are not functioning. Zimbabweans in South Africa in diaspora are the ones who are, sending things to Zimbabwe. Secondly, the government has failed completely to sustain life in our country. The government is captured by China. Our Mnangagwa, and Chiwenga, they've mortgaged our country to Chinese. Chinese nationals are coming to Zimbabwe willy-nilly. They are under self-quarantine, which is nonsense and an insult to our security, to national security, and insult to national social contract and unity and us being Zimbabweans. So there's no way that Mnangagwa is banning Zimbabweans, black Zimbabweans, but Chinese are running around like headless chickens in our country.
Okay, now let's look at the issue of returning residents. The people that have got coronavirus now in Zimbabwe, they are reportedly people who have been outside the country.
Yeah.
Is Zimbabwe able to control coronavirus when people leave?
A coronavirus, it's a big medical word and vocabulary. Zimbabwe is not able to contain headaches. We don't have painkillers in our government hospitals as we speak. For many years now, the government hospitals, Parenya, Atwa, Mpilo, they can't offer painkillers. So when we talk about coronavirus, it's like teaching a grade 1 student, a PhD course. Our country can't offer painkillers. We had the way Zororo died. Zororo died because there were no plugs. There was no ventilators. And they were not even interested because Zororo has been resisting the lure to join the CIO. So if a citizen is killed by the government because he refused to join the Central Intelligence, we are playing as a country. Citizens of Zimbabwe must wake up and unite to the only way we can save the pandemic of Zimbabwe is to remove the government.
Okay. Now, the next 3 measures are to do with the groups of people.
Yeah.
So they are looking at reducing travel within the country, banning of entertainment and recreational activities, reducing hospital visits. and then reducing public gatherings. What do you think? Can people in Zimbabwe be contained in one place?
It's impossible because the Zimbabweans are starving. Zimbabweans are in poverty. Zimbabweans are living hand to mouth. Zimbabweans make a meal for breakfast, make a meal for lunch, work hard for supper. How do you contain such people? And besides, Wilkins Hospital is not ready for anything. It's not ready for, we don't have ventilators in the country. We have got almost 17 ventilators in a population of about 17 million. So, I mean, we have never been ready for basic commodities, for roller mill. The country can't supply roller mill to its citizens. We can't supply fuel to citizens. So Corona is out of touch. It's out of hand, out of control.
Right, now let's go to the issue of informal markets.
Yeah.
They didn't close the informal markets. Is that going to increase the coronavirus infections?
The first question before we answer that is do we have a government? The answer is no. Let's assume we have got a government. Does our government care for its citizens? The answer is no. So it's either the answer we don't have a government, we've got mafias, criminals acting as government. Secondly, if we are on assumption, if we agree we have got a government, we can then agree that the government doesn't care about the people because they know that more than 90% of people voted them out. So anyone who dies in Zimbabwe is not theirs. Citizens of Zimbabwe are on their own. Our hope as Zimbabweans to listen to the nonsense that Mnangagwa was announcing as measures to contain coronavirus. Zimbabweans, we are cursed. Zimbabweans, we have got demons of stupidity. We are the most gullible nation in the world. We always give audience to ZANU-PF nonsense. When we know this government is a criminal government, this government is a murderous government, it's a county government. Zimbabweans must be talking now on how to rescue ourselves by uprising. There's no way this government, yes.
Right. You are talking of uprising.
Yes.
Yesterday, Nelson Chamisa made a statement about coronavirus. Was that adequate?
Nelson Chamisa, I always tell people that I don't have bad, I don't hate someone because of sexual orientation. So I don't hate Chamisa because he's gay. But Chamisa must just move away from representing people. Because and a blind person can even tell from Chamisa's voice. Chamisa is weak. So for a nation to listen to Chamisa, he's doing in the crisis of the coronavirus. Chamisa has got the energy to shoot a video challenging Mnangagwa for the clean hands challenge. What nonsense is that? When in our country we don't have ventilators, when in our country Chinese are not being quarantined, they are not being tested. I mean, Chamisa is a joke. And every day, Zimbabweans must know that Chamisa is a ZANU-PF project. Chamisa is a joke. And he doesn't deserve people to discuss about him.
Okay, so I want us to wrap up now. You said the measures that were announced were inadequate because we have an absent government.
Yeah.
What would you have done if you were in government?
If I was in government, the first thing is you don't need the power as a leader to the point of mortgaging or selling your country to Chinese. Zimbabwe has been sold to Chinese and Russia. So the citizens now are just in bondage. We are renting in our country at the expense or at the mercy of Russians. We know Russia is run by a mafia. Putin is a mafia. He is he's an evil dictator who has unleashed lions in his own citizens. We know that the Chinese Communist Party is a cult. So Mnangagwa and Chiwenga are now under the evil, rule of Putin, under the countering administration of the Chinese government. So citizens, we are mortgaged. We have been sold on the witchcraft market. So that was the mistake, that the country has been captured. The country has been sold to Russians and Chinese. So we don't have independent decisions except citizens to rise and remove this evil government.
Okay, let's end with the story that has been doing the rounds.
Yeah.
That there was a body of a Chinese national.
Yeah.
That was being taken from place to place yesterday.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to handle it.
Yes.
Do you think the numbers that we're getting are correct on coronavirus?
Coronavirus, I speak to Zimbabweans in rural areas and some in peri-urban. I can tell you that over 50% of Zimbabweans, they don't even understand what is coronavirus and the symptoms. So many people are dying. I can put the number plus or minus 10,000 Zimbabweans are dying, and the government is massively rigging elections, rigging coronavirus statistics, and most people are dying uncounted, undetected deaths. Coronavirus is wreaking havoc in Zimbabwe, and people are not aware of what is coronavirus. Secondly, the government is rigging the statistics.
Okay, let us close up this conversation.
Yeah.
What is your final word on this discussion? What should be done? What is wrong? What is the current situation?
In honor of Zororo Makamba, who has been killed by a murderous government because he refused, for his conscience to refuse to be a member of the CIO, so many Zimbabweans are dying and so many would die. I'm urging Zimbabweans that let's leave politics, let's unite and do peaceful means. That I'm releasing this end of this weekend. Let's reunite and remove E.D. Mnangagwa and Chiwenga. That's why Chiwenga is being treated by China. No matter Chiwenga must die because his body is now a vegetable. They are treating him because they know that Mnangagwa is failed. Chiwenga must be in command. We can't let China dictate our health, dictate our future, dictate our economy. Zimbabweans, let's rise. I know you like Chamisa. Chamisa is captured. I know Zimbabweans, you don't like my leadership. But for once, can I give you a signal this weekend and we remove this government to save ourselves from corona crisis, from poverty, from oppression? Thank you.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, thank you very much. And I'll try to get hold of you this weekend so that you tell us what is happening. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the platform.